At the age of 63, after more than 4 decades of near-total silence on certain chapters of her past, Melissa Sue Anderson, the gentle, unforgettable Mary Ingalls of Little House on the Prairie, has finally chosen to open her heart and speak candidly, for the very first time in public, about the woman who played her on-screen mother, Karen Grassle. Melissa Sue Anderson entered the world on September 26, 1962, in the vibrant, countercultural heart of Berkeley, California, a city that in the early 1960s was already famous worldwide as the beating pulse of free speech, civil rights activism, anti-war protests, and artistic revolution. The streets were filled with folk music, poetry readings, and the unmistakable scent of change in the air. It was into this electric, intellectually charged atmosphere that James and Marian Anderson welcomed their second daughter. 12 years earlier, they had celebrated the birth of their first child, Maureen, called Morin by the family, creating a significant age gap that would profoundly shape Melissa's childhood. While most little girls had playmates their own age, Melissa grew up looking up to a sister who was practically a young adult, someone who brought home Beatles records, talked about college, and offered a glimpse into a grown-up world long before Melissa herself would reach it. In many ways, Maureen became less of a typical big sister and more of a quiet, protective mentor, giving Melissa an unusual blend of independence and early maturity. Life in the Bay Area was comfortable, progressive, and filled with ideas, but when Melissa was only 7 years old, everything changed. In 1969, the Anderson family packed up and made the long drive south to Los Angeles, a sprawling, sun-drenched metropolis that represented the complete opposite of Berkeley's laid-back, academic vibe. Los Angeles in the early 1970s was the undisputed capital of the entertainment universe, studio lots, casting offices, and the constant hum of ambition. The move was not originally about show business, it was simply a family decision, yet it unknowingly placed a shy, observant little girl with expressive blue eyes directly in the path of Hollywood destiny. 4 years later, when Melissa was 13, another earthquake struck her young life. Her parents' marriage ended in divorce. For any teenager this is devastating, but doing it in a new city, far from old friends and familiar places, made it even harder. Melissa and Maureen stayed with their mother, Marian, a deeply devout Roman Catholic who leaned heavily on faith to guide her daughters through the storm. Church became an anchor, Sunday Mass, Catholic school values, the comforting rhythm of prayers and traditions. It gave the girls structure at a time when everything else felt uncertain. Yet even amid personal upheaval, something remarkable was already happening. From the age of 6 or 7, Melissa had been appearing in television commercials, smiling brightly for Mattel toys, modeling clothes for Sears catalogs, learning how to hit her mark and take direction under hot studio lights. She was a natural. Then one day, her dance teacher, a woman who had seen hundreds of children come and go, pulled Marian aside and said words that would change their lives forever. "This little girl has something special. You should get her an agent." Within weeks, Melissa was going on professional auditions. Casting directors loved her quiet intensity, her ability to cry on cue, and the way her face could express volumes without saying a word. The commercial bookings multiplied. Guest spots on television shows followed almost immediately. She popped up in an episode of The Brady Bunch as the sweet, slightly awkward girl who shared Bobby Brady's very first on-screen kiss, a moment that became instant 1970s nostalgia. The same year, she appeared in an episode of the tough, gritty detective series Shaft, proving she could switch from wholesome family sitcoms to urban crime drama without missing a beat. The industry took notice. This was not just another cute child actor, this was someone with real range. Then, in 1974, when Melissa was only 11 years old, a cattle call audition for a new family drama based on Laura Ingalls Wilder's beloved books changed everything. Hundreds of girls read for the role of Mary Ingalls, the gentle, responsible, golden-haired eldest daughter. Melissa walked in, delivered a quiet, heartfelt reading, and walked out with the part that would define her life. Little House on the Prairie became a global phenomenon, and for the next 8 seasons, 1974 to 1982, Melissa Sue Anderson was Mary, the smart one, the one who went blind, the one whose pain and courage broke millions of hearts every week. She officially left the regular cast after season 7, but Michael Landon, the show's father figure star and creator, wasn't ready to let her go completely. He brought her back for 3 final guest appearances in season 8 so Mary's story could reach a proper, emotional conclusion. Those episodes gave fans closure and remain some of the most tear-jerking in the entire series. Her connection with Michael Landon went far beyond Little House. In 1976, he personally asked the teenage Melissa to star in his deeply autobiographical TV movie The Loneliest Runner, a painful, semi-confessional story about childhood bedwetting. Melissa played Nancy Rizzi, the first girlfriend of the young protagonist, a character based on Landon himself. She later called it one of the greatest honors of her career to be trusted with something so personal to him. A year later, she reunited with her Loneliest Runner co-star Lance Kerwin in the acclaimed coming-of-age drama James at 15, again playing his sensitive, grounded love interest. The awards followed quickly. In 1978, at just 15, she received a Primetime Emmy nomination for Best Lead Actress in a Drama Series, an almost unheard-of achievement for someone so young. The following year, 1979, she won the Emmy outright for her devastating performance in the ABC after-school special Which Mother Is Mine, beating out seasoned adult actresses. That same year she headlined the CBS Movie of the Week The Survival of Dana, playing a fish-out-of-water North Dakota teen trying to survive the brutal social hierarchy of a big-city high school, a role that felt eerily close to parts of her own life. By 1980, Little House mania had swept the globe. In Spain, the show was a cultural sensation, and Melissa was awarded the prestigious TP de Oro as Best Foreign Actress. She flew to Madrid, appeared on the country's highest-rated program 625 Líneas, and was mobbed by fans who saw Mary Ingalls as a real-life angel. In 1981, she proved her range yet again by diving into the horror genre with the Canadian slasher cult classic Happy Birthday to Me, earning a Young Artist Award nomination and showing the world she could terrify as easily as she could make you cry. After Little House ended, Melissa never stopped working. She guest-starred on some of the biggest shows of the 1980s and 1990s, The Equalizer, Alfred Hitchcock Presents, Chips, Murder, She Wrote, and many more. She stepped behind the camera as an associate producer on Michael Landon's final television movie, Where Pigeons Go to Die, 1990, a beautiful farewell to the man who had been her mentor and second father. In 1998, her contribution to Western television was permanently honored when she was inducted into the Western Performers Hall of Fame at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum in Oklahoma City. In 1999 she co-starred with Scream Queen Heather Langenkamp in the short-lived series Partners, and in 2014 she delighted fans with a cameo as Stash's mother in the Veronica Mars movie. On a personal level, 1990 was the year everything settled into place. She married Michael Sloan, a brilliant, prolific television writer-producer, creator of The Equalizer, Kung Fu, The Legend Continues, and dozens of others. Theirs was not a flashy Hollywood romance, but a deep, quiet, creative partnership built on mutual respect, shared values, and genuine love. Together they had 2 children, daughter Piper and son Griffin. Melissa has spoken many times about how motherhood completely reframed her world. The little girl who once lived under blinding studio lights now cherished school runs, bedtime stories, and a life deliberately kept out of the tabloids. In 2002, seeking true peace and anonymity, the family left Los Angeles entirely and moved to Montreal, Quebec. 5 years later, on Canada Day 2007, Melissa, Michael, Piper, and Griffin stood together and took the oath of Canadian citizenship, an emotional milestone Melissa has described as one of the proudest moments of her life. Tragically, on August 13, 2025, Michael Sloan passed away in New York City after returning there for work, ending a 35-year love story that had been the steady heartbeat of Melissa's adult life. Now, at 63, with the perspective that only time and loss can bring, Melissa Sue Anderson has decided the moment is right to speak openly, warmly, and without reservation about Karen Grassle, the extraordinary actress who brought Caroline Ma Ingalls to life. She begins with deep respect. Karen had this incredible, calming, motherly presence on set. When you're a child actor and the days are 14 hours long and everyone's tired and stressed, certain people make you feel safe. Karen was one of them. I remember watching her handle chaos with such grace. Never raising her voice, never losing her dignity. She taught me, without ever sitting me down for a lecture, how a woman carries herself in a tough industry. Melissa does not shy away from the long-rumored tension between Karen Grassle and Michael Landon. As a kid, you feel it even if you don't understand it, she says softly. There were days the air felt heavy. I was closer to Michael, he was like family to me, but I could see Karen was fighting passionately for things she believed in, for the truth of her character, for respect, for what she felt the show should stand for. Looking back now, I admire that fire so much more than I did then. She is equally honest about their personal distance during filming. When you're young, you stay in your own little bubble. I had my group of people I felt comfortable with, Karen had hers. It was never hostility, it was just two different worlds on the same set. But I know now that she was carrying a huge weight, quietly protecting the soul of Ma Ingalls, making sure that character felt real and meaningful to millions of people. That kind of responsibility isn't easy, and she shouldered it with class. Finally, with tears in her eyes and a smile of genuine peace, Melissa says, "Age does something beautiful, it smooths out all the old edges and leaves only gratitude." Karen Grassle was a cornerstone of Little House on the Prairie. She helped raise me on screen and, in her own quiet way, off-screen too. I didn't always see it when I was 15, but at 63? I see it clearly. I have nothing but love, respect, and thankfulness for her. She deserves every ounce of recognition and affection the fans give her, and so much more.